Alright, you guys, it is Thursday. We are live. I'm currently being sassed by a dog, so give me one moment. He's telling me off because he's mad that we didn't go to the working place tonight. I can't say the actual name of it because then he'll just get going even harder. But we didn't go for his WALK because there's some storms in the area, and one of them's within a lightning parameter, or was. I don't know if it still is. And there's another swath about to swoop down on top of us with some rain, and he's not understanding the fact that we can't go because it's about to rain, and he hates getting wet. That's the thing. He hates getting wet. So, sorry, was trying to mute and explain this to him, that it wasn't happening tonight. We took him in our front yard for a minute. He got a treat. It was the best we could do today, and he's not having it. So he might be cranky in the background, and I apologize. There's only so much I can do. There might be times I have to mute today. Apologies. So we're back to needle felting today. I hope everybody's day had, everybody had a good day. We're gonna get back working on this guy. It's been a minute. I had to cancel the previous week. I think it was because of weather and possibly a migraine. But, we're gonna get going. So we've got our finger protectors here. They're not technically required for this, but I highly recommend them. You can still stab yourself through them, through these. It is possible. I've done it, but the injury won't be nearly as bad as compared to if you hadn't had them on. So these are barbed needles that we're using. They have little notches cut in them. So you really don't want to get that stuck in your finger. That's going to be a nightmare to try to get out. So we are working on our needle felted guy. We're going to mount this on a piece of wood and then build a frame around it. Like we did the last one. So I pulled out my polyfill. Now traditionally people use wool roving for this. I use acrylic yarn. It's a little bit easier for me to get in quite a large variety of colors at a price that doesn't make my budget scream in agony. So that be what we're doing here today. So this was a little thin in here, so I just pull off small bits of fluff. I know most people lay it down flat. I like to roll it up on itself. I think the coverage is a little bit better that way. We all have our own ways of doing stuff, right? And our own personal preferences, but traditionally it usually just gets laid down flat and then stabbed on through. And, you know, some people will do multiple layers and then start stabbing if they think, trying to get the right amount on there for the coverage they're looking for, but I like doing it this way. And, oh, that's not what I wanted. I also tend to use a little tiny drop of water on my fingers most of the time when I'm trying to shape my bit of fluff. It's just a little bit easier. It's usually fairly dry around here, and my hands are usually um, not cooperating, so I need that little bit of friction to help shape my pieces here. Sorry, I got a little close to my edge there of our flamingo. So I don't know what gauge this needle is. I'm not sure if they actually come in gauges with numbers on them, but it is a size small. And I know some people use the tools that have the multiple needles in the handle. My kit, when I had gotten it, had come with one of those that had the ability to hold, I think, was it 6 or 8 needles? It's very deceiving because this is so light. That thing's heavy. And when I start, you know, tapping away, it becomes apparent how heavy it is, and then my whole arm gets real tired real fast. So I prefer doing the single one. Again, personal preference. Now, we didn't get very far on the first session with this because a certain chaos gremlin kept deciding that it was all about him that night. And he kept jumping up here and laying in the middle of everything. So have to make sure when we go to build the frame for this that he is sequestered in another room, because I'll have a hot glue gun up here and I don't want him fussing with that and finding out why we don't touch that. Because that's not going to be a fun time for anybody. This dog is still telling me off. Because he doesn't understand why we're not WALKING. So you might hear him grumbling from time to time in the background. I do have one noise filter on this microphone, so I don't know how much of it will get picked up. I will try to mute if he starts doing his ear-piercing screechy bark. Right now he's doing his impression of a moped, so sporadically. He's a very high-pitched bark, and I try to mute when I know he's about to do it, because it can be a lot, but I don't always know when he's about to do it. So there might be a second or two that you might be subjected to that, and I apologize ahead of time. Now, this is just a standard piece of craft felt from like the kids' craft section at the store. It was very inexpensive. You know, it just basic stuff. I didn't really go too fancy. This is like the standard thinness. They do have one that's a little bit thicker, and I do like that one a little bit more, but I'd only bought like one piece of that way back when as a test to see how it was going to behave, and I did enjoy it. But I haven't needed to buy any more felt, and I wanted to use what I've got up. So for the time being, we're just gonna keep on rolling with what we've got, because I do have a lot of stuff that I kind of need to work through. that I'm trying to work through. I have dwindled my felt collection down a bit, for certain, but there's still a few pieces left there to go. And I might go through that a bit faster because I need it for the backing on the embroidery projects as well. So I might have to get some more of that in the near future. Now this is a wool needle felting mat. This one is from Wool Buddy, entirely not sponsored. Bought this on my own. Everything that I use I have bought on my own or was given to me from a family member. Nothing's been sponsored. So there's that. I'm using 2 different yarn brands currently. Again, if you want to go ahead and stick with the traditional wool roving, that's more than fine. The roving for me and my budget, not the best scenario. So, roving for me is maybe like it was hard to find packs of just one color. It was like sets of a couple of colors. And it was not very much. It was like maybe that wide of a thing. I know it was folded up on itself, but it wasn't very much. And as you can see, when we're doing larger projects like this, we go through a fair bit. We're not just making the tiny little cutesy creatures. We've made a few in the past, but in fact, I was originally supposed to try to needle felt the husband a pigeon, like a pigeon statue for Christmas, but we're gonna go with the pigeon embroidery this time, which is fine with me because my creatures never really come out quite right. There's always something a little bit not quite right with that one. They always have a bit of a derpiness to them, if you will. But let's see here. But yeah, it was for like it was like $5.99. $5.99. That might have been for a single color. It might have been a pack for like 2 colors and just a very small amount of it in there. And that was like, no, that was not gonna work because I've done full like 8x10 needle felted stuff before. It's taken me several weeks in a row, but I've done it. We were following some Bob Ross tutorials and trying to replicate them as best as my abilities would allow. You know, in like an 8x10 size, and that took quite a lot of yarn. Believe it or not. I mean, I haven't replaced any of the colors that I have in the 2.5, 3 years that we've been needle felting, but so I definitely get my mileage out of it. Sorry, the cats are being dumb. Heard a noise. And with these guys, I have to check what it is because usually somebody's getting into trouble. But it just financially, it was just not gonna work. Just like, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. This is my main line here. Let me see. So I can show y'all what I'm doing. So we're gonna build a frame out of these sticks when we're all done. Now, I tried to give myself a little bit of buffer room because the last one I did, the way all of the fibers pulled in on themselves, it shrunk it a little bit more than I anticipated on the edge, and I was a little short. And you can kind of see it's a little bit short in the background. where the frame didn't quite make up for the shortness that it ended up being. So I gave myself a little bit of a buffer zone that I'm going to needle felt into. And at this point, I'd rather trim a little bit of the fluff off than not have enough. So that's what that's about. That's why there's all these extra lines going down the sides here. Anyhow, so I found out that you can do acrylic yarn. It does involve a little bit more prep, I will say that. You have to get it to that like roving fluffy state. You basically have to undo the plied twisted bit of it turning into yarn. And so that takes a little bit of extra prep time. But if I can catch a yarn sale, I mean, some of the yarns I got for $1.99 for like a big skein of it, and I still have a good amount of it left. Like I have a 27-gallon container filled to the brim with skeins of yarn. And I have a secondary one that's maybe half full that I tried to, it's sharing storage space with some of my tissue paper stuff because my plastic stackable drawers that I was using to store art stuff in, I think the mother-in-law had a bunch that she didn't end up needing anymore, or they had to get rid of between her and her sister. And somehow we ended up with them, and I'm like, alright, well, I'll just put stuff in them. And they're leaning now. I guess from the weight of the stuff that I've put in them. And our floors are not level, so that's not helping. And the further down you go in the drawers, the less they want to open at this point. So the drawers that were giving me a bunch of trouble, I was pulling the stuff out of and trying to throw it in this extra storage container that I've got just to try to make my life a little bit easier. But I've also got stuff stacked on top of this container, so I don't know if it really made my life all that much easier or not. I've got stuff everywhere. We don't have much storage in this place, unfortunately. Like, if we do end up moving, and a lot of stars have to align for that, but if we do end up moving out of state, I told him, if at all possible, I want a 2-bedroom house, or wherever we end up, even if we end up renting, I want a 2-bedroom something. Whether it's a tiny house, I know a 2-bedroom tiny house sounds weird, but I don't need a whole lot of space. I just need space big enough for the computer equipment, the lights, the desk, and the storage. And I want to be able to have some cabinets, or like, even if I go to like the thrift store and find like an old buffet table or something, or a china cabinet, or you know, something that I can put my stuff in. Part of my problem with getting stuff done or wanting to work on stuff that I have is that I have this hurdle in my brain where I want to do the thing, but then the thought of digging the stuff out from where it's being housed in containers, under containers, under containers, and just the thought of that is exhausting. And I'm like, by the time I dig out what I need, I'm not going to want to do it anymore. So I want to have things more out in the open. I want to get like some little tiered risers so that I can put my bottles of acrylic paint on them, so I can just grab the color that I want when I want to paint, instead of having to dig out the container that they're in and then dig through there to find the colors I'm looking for. Just grab what I need and get to it. Like, I will grab beat up furniture from yard sales or whatever I need to do. Something like old dressers or whatever that'll be a little more sturdy to store my stuff in than these plastic container stuff. I'm fine with that. I need something. I mean, even if it's in a drawer that I can access more easily instead of the monstrous stack of stuff I've got in here, because we have no closets. There's 2 closets in this house. I don't know who built this house. This house feels like it was built by one person that just kept getting slowly added onto and in whatever direction they could. So there's an actual closet in the mother-in-law's room. There is a tiny, tiny, tiny closet in the room that my mom is using. And there's like a half closet in the bathroom for like towels and stuff. That's it. There's no other closets in this house. I'm like, who built this place? So we have to get like our clothes. Our clothes are in plastic storage containers because he had a dresser, but that ended up going to my mom. My dad was using it, and then my mom started using it. And then when my dad passed away, my mom ended up just using all of that space. And she's got an old TV armoire thing, TV cabinet that that she's using to put the rest of her clothes in. And she got like a coat rack, like a freestanding coat rack. There's nowhere to even put our coats. Our coats are like folded up in these storage containers. And everybody's always like, well, in a tornado, you want to go to the most center part of your house, a closet or a bathroom, or like a hallway or something where you're not touching any exterior walls. And I'm like, uh-huh. That doesn't exist in this house. Does not exist. Every single room in this house touches an exterior wall. The bathroom is on an exterior wall. There's no closets really that we can get into. And even if there was room to get into them, they're both touching an outside wall. The main hallway has the door to the mother-in-law's room, which has 3 exterior walls touching it. The bathroom, the dining room, and then the room that my mom is using, but there's no solid door there to close off my mom's room from the hallway. And her room has 2 exterior walls. And it's like, okay. Our dining room could almost be the place to go. However, it's not a small room. It's one of the larger rooms in this house. And there's like a sliver of it that touches an exterior wall. Like a window's width of wall touches exterior. And then it's a wide open doorway into our kitchen, which touches the exterior walls on 2.5 sides. I'm like, so we're just screwed in a tornado. We have to either go to the public shelter, which they don't give you a whole lot of time for, and I'm not leaving the dogs here alone when the one doggo has terrible, terrible storm anxiety. I won't do that. We're all going down together. And so we have to take our chances in our bathroom. I mean, the house was built, I think, in somewhere between 1920 and 1926. I've seen a couple different build dates on it. So it's about 100 years old, roughly. So it's been here all this time. We just have to hope our luck continues to hold out. So we have had a couple of tornadoes go through town. Fortunately, the damage wasn't catastrophic. There was like some roof damage here and there, and like some freestanding structure damage. There's been power poles that got snapped. Like the one day I was in the middle of stream, we weren't even under a tornado warning. And it was, hold on a second. Can't believe I'm arguing with the dog about doing things that he wants to do. Actually, I can believe it, but one of the storms, looks like that one of the rain blobs that was near us looks like it is starting to put out some lightning, so even more reason why we can't go. We're not getting zapped. I'm sorry. It's for safety. If you get electrocuted, we can't go no more. Old man. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to be cranky. And I can't help that. It doesn't help that the husband wasn't feeling great this morning, so he didn't get to go this morning either, so he's extra mad. But he's gonna have to accept the fact that it's just not happening today. And that park closes at sundown, so by the time it moves on out of here, he's just gonna be out of luck. But what the heck was I saying? He derailed my thoughts. Oh, right. So we just have to hope that our bathroom is good enough. We had one storm move through on Halloween night. And only some people in town got the emergency notification, and it was so weird. I think did we get it? No, we didn't get it. I'm paranoid and real anxiety ridden about storms turning spicy and scary and swirly and all of the things. So, just a second, guys. Sorry, my mom needed something. The one cat has gotten out on her, so we're a little paranoid. It took a long time for us to get him back in. And so we're a little paranoid, so we need to know where the cat is, where she goes outside. No, like 3 people got the call that there was a tornado warning, and like nobody else in town did, so they slept right through it. Yeah, I guess they didn't have multiple notifications or weather radios. We tried to have a weather radio, and then it just kept beeping about low battery, and like nothing we did was fixing it. So we ended up, I don't know where it is now. I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if we ended up getting rid of it or what. But we have multiple notifications out. So after everybody bitched to the city that, hey, you took away the tornado siren, it's not like you were going to hear them if you were dead asleep inside your house anyway. But they were bitching out the city. Like, you told us to sign up for this emergency notification call and we didn't get it. And fair enough. I mean, I was mad that we didn't get a call about it either. We had had some trouble with it in the past where, like, it was acting like we didn't put in the request for the notifications that we did. And, like, we had to redo it a couple of times. And then it would work for a little while, and then it wouldn't work again, and we'd have to redo it again. So I'm like, what is this? But, so somehow the system, we were never told what happened. The system failed that night. I don't know if they were in the middle of a maintenance outage. Nobody knows. Just that the system failed that night. And people did get a bit of damage in the area to their roofs, and I think there was some damage done to the one baseball field and signage, and some people, there was like 2 tornadoes that dropped down, like one right after another in the area. I had been watching it before it came into our area because the one weather station went live on YouTube, and I was watching that, and I was like, and then they seemed really surprised that the weather service dropped the warning, or let the warning drop, and they're like, I don't know about that. And like, they're like, I don't know, I don't like the way this looks. And within about 5-10 minutes they reissued it, maybe not even that. But I was up at the very least, and I woke the husband up, and we went into cover. It missed our place. It went a different path, but it still went through part of town, just not our part. There was another time where we weren't under any kind of watch, I don't think, or warning. And I was in the middle of a live stream, and I'm not sure if it was actually thundering. I know it was raining. It might have like had a storm pop up out of nowhere. And all of the sudden, in the middle of me doing the live stream, the power went out. And I was like, what the hell? And we waited, and we waited, and we waited some more, and it's like, it's not coming back. I was like, great. So I had to finish what I was in the middle of doing with like a battery powered lantern without being live, because what I needed to do, I think it was oil paint or something, and it was going to be a pain to not finish it. So I ended up finishing it in the dark because it was dark in the room that we were in. It wasn't necessarily dark outside, but it was dark in our room. And like the outside light just wasn't cutting it through what windows we could get it, because it was, I guess, rainy out. The power, I think, was out till late that night. Like, we were starting to get nervous that we were going to lose everything in our fridge and all. We were getting real upset. And, because we had no idea what was going on. And then when the power finally came back up and I was able to get back on Facebook, because our town has multiple Facebook groups, people had posted pictures of what had happened, and apparently there had been like a quick spin up tornado that had just happened in the squall line that had gone through. Didn't end up having a warning on it because it happened so fast. And one street several blocks down from us had almost every single telephone pole snapped, and they were laying across the road, like just matchsticks. It was wild. I was like, oh my god. And we never knew anything about that happening until much, much later in the day. That was kind of concerning. It was like hours before I was able to be like, hey, we're okay. Power's just been out all this time. And our power here doesn't really go out that often without a definite reason. Like, it's gotta be fairly bad issue. Because we live on the main road that goes through our town. So a lot of times you will hear a lot of traffic in the background and what have you. And I have no control over that. Whoever built this house has like no soundproofing in here. There's probably no insulation in the walls. Whoever built this place was just kind of vibing, I guess. Like, oh, let's do this. But, it was pretty wild. But yeah, you'll hear traffic and stuff, but because we're on the main road, like the main set of power lines that go through the town, we don't normally have just random power outages. The one night, oh my god, the one night was so crazy. There was, oh, was it a snowstorm? Was the T-Rex noises the snowstorm? Or a snowstorm?
I'm sorry, what?
The night that we woke up for like the Transformer T-Rex loud noises that we kept hearing, where like the whole neighborhood was buzzing.
Okay.
Was that a snowstorm? Was it just a regular rainstorm?
I want to say it was a snowstorm, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was snowing.
Or it had snowed. One of the two.
Yeah, there was some kind of weather something that had happened. And we were in bed, sound asleep. And something woke me up. And the dog started being real upset. And we're like, what the hell? And then I'm like laying there trying to figure out what the hell woke me up. And all of a sudden there's this like noise, and like everything felt like it was vibrating and buzzing, and it was so loud. We're not going. We can't. It's lightning. No. No. We can't go. Mr. Dog. It's not happening. No. No. Go lay down. It's not time for your second snack yet either. Thank you. It was so loud. And then everything in the house like power surged. Like our the emergency button we have for my mom to hit in case she falls and needs help, and we didn't hear her fall or anything. That started playing. The printer started warming up, and just everything, like, something makes like a high-pitched tone when the power goes off. I don't know if that had been the stove that we had at the time, or if it was just the breaker box. Something went like beep, and then that got the dog even more riled up, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, we had no idea what was going on. And it happened like one or two more times. And like every time the power blipped, everything surged, and we're like, what the frick is going on? And it finally, we were about to call the power company, and it stopped. And we're like, oh, okay. The power had come back, everything was fine, and it had stabilized. And we're like, what the hell was that noise? Like, we thought it was our house. We're like checking all the things. We didn't know what was going on. We're like, what? Like, what is happening? We're checking the wires on our house. Nothing seemed to be amiss. Everything's sorted, and we're like, okay, weird. We went back to bed. We had fallen back asleep. We were exhausted. 28 minutes later, it started again, and we're like, what in the flippin' flip? Except this time, it did it one or two more times, and then the power didn't come back on. And we were like, you know what? I think it was snowing because we were cold. And we were like, excuse me. Like, I think our thermostat's electric. But so it was like, well, this is a problem. So then we did manage to report the power outage. And I think the husband had his hotspot that he turned on, and we went to the outage map, and there was just like kind of clustered in our couple of streets, and we're like, what the heck? And so we couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. So I was periodically getting up, trying to figure out what was going on. And then we finally found out what was going on. It might have been before it went out for the last time. No, we didn't know what had happened. We were doing something, and we walked into the mother-in-law's room, and we could see flashing lights out her one window. And we're like, what is this? And we went outside and realized it's the power company. Apparently, one of the trees that was kind of in the side yard of a house on, like, not the house directly next to us, but the next house down. There's like a street in between the two. They had several trees in their yard. And well, I guess the power company hadn't gotten around to doing their tree trimming yet on that street. And I guess either the limbs got so weighed down with wet snow that it pushed them into the transformer or part of the power line or something. And so it kept shorting out the transformer, and that was like the buzz that we kept hearing. I guess the wires were arcing. And I don't know if the transformer finally gave up or if the power company had shut the power down while they were trying to figure out what was going on. But like the next morning in daylight, there was a whole lot of tree laying laying in the person's yard, where I guess they had to do some trimming before they could bring the power back up. Fortunately, it was winter, so we weren't worried about losing anything in the fridge or the freezer. I think they had the power back up before daybreak.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
But the noise was just, oh my god. Like, at first, we really thought it was something specific to our house. We're like, is our circuit breaker going bad? Like, what is happening? We'd never heard anything like that before. And then we realized, like, the whole neighborhood was humming every time it did it. And we're like, that ain't right. That ain't right at all. And I think there was only one time before that. It was during another snowstorm. One of the first big snowstorms that we experienced down here, where the power just kept flickering constantly, and we just ended up turning off the circuit breaker for a while because we were afraid that with all of the surging constantly back to back, that the appliances and everything were gonna get screwed over. So we're like, yeah, we'll just turn this off for a bit, and then we'll start turning stuff back on later and see if it stabilizes. I think that was also a heavy wet snow. There's a lot of trees around here. So I was originally contemplating mixing the two shades of blue I have, but the other blue is very, very different, and I think it's going to be too stripy. So I'm not going to do that. Did change my mind about that. Instead, I think we'll try the polyfill route. Now Mr. Bean's gonna mess with him. Mr. Bean, I finally got him to stop sassing me. Oh my goodness. That's so sad. We can't even just, like, take him across the street. We might later, once the traffic dies down, and let him smell around in the parking lot across the street and see if that does it for him. We haven't been doing that, though, because one of the stray cats that's been around in the neighborhood, that seems to think that our house is one of her pit stops and that she hangs out here. She very much took a liking to the doggos. And now if the doggos go across the street, if we take them across the street, she decides she must follow them. And traffic. We don't want her getting hit by a car, so we stopped doing that. And it seems like she won't be around, and the second we try to go across the street with the doggos, she's there. So she doesn't follow us across the street. She only follows the dogs across the street, which is bizarre. Like, she'll want attention from us when we're out there with the doggos. She doesn't necessarily demand it and follow us down off the property when we don't have them. So, I don't know, maybe if she shows up and I can try to keep her corralled to the one side of the street. Killing me, doggo. I can't tell if he's just that upset or if Mr. Bean's messing with him at this point. It sounds like the noise he makes when Mr. Bean's being Mr. Bean, but I think Mr. Bean is under the one ottoman. And I think he's telling Mr. Bean about how terrible we are that we wouldn't take him out with the rain trying to happen and the storms trying to happen. I haven't heard it thunder. Okay, it's moving away, but I think the lightning ring of how many miles out is still a little too close. And plus, it's to the point now. It's not quite dark out yet, but squeakers! 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 Hey! Hey! You need to calm down, sir. Mr. Sassy Pants. Oh my goodness. One of the few dogs I've ever had that will tell me off if he doesn't get what he wants. Him and his brother both would do that. The other dog that we currently have, the lights are sometimes on, but it's very questionable as to whether or not anybody's home. So I think it's definitely a vacation home up there. For sure. Unless she's just that stubborn. Which could very well be. And she's just acting that unknowledgeable, even though we've taught her the things that we need to teach her. The teaching hasn't seemed to stick very well. And then at one point I was beginning to think she was playing dumb because it was me telling her to do the thing. Because then the husband would tell her to do the thing and she would jump right up and do it. She's very much his dog. She has locked onto him. Like, he can't even leave the room half the time. If he gets up to go to the bathroom, she is guarding or waiting for him outside the bathroom door. Now, I will say, if you're using this kind of mat, the felted or the wool, you definitely want to pull your project up more often than not, either in between adding bits of fluff to it, or just if you've been stabbing for a while because the piece of fluff you had just needed that much attaching. Just to make sure you don't become too attached to the mat, because it can happen. I mean, you are felting into it essentially through a layer. And if you don't periodically pull it up, you can definitely have the little bits become very embedded in here. And when you do go to pull it up eventually, you're going to have a really hard time getting it to let go, which could result in your project stretching and then looking really weird or possibly damaging your mat. Now, I don't know if that same rule of thumb also applies to, sorry, it looked like it was still a little bit thin right there. I don't know if that same rule of thumb applies to the foam mats. I don't know. I've not used a foam mat. I've seen some people take larger sheets of like house insulation, like foam house insulation sheets, and cut that down and use that as their mat. I have no idea if that would be a harsh or soft noise to stab into. This, I don't think my microphone's picking it up, but this sounds like you're walking through snow or gravel. It's a soft, crunchy kind of noise. And it's not very jarring of a sound, at least to me. However, the one time I was trying to tack something in and felting into foam. Yes, sir. What is the matter? No. No. That's not happening. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Daddy said no. Not tonight. I understand that. I do. I understand. Squeak. I understand. Stop with the squeaking. I understand. Look, Mr. Bean's getting sick of your attitude tonight, too. We can't always go, buddy. Oh my god. This dog.
Just a minute.
Alright. So. Looks like the weather's moved far enough away at this point. The one angry sky is in the next county over. So we're probably far enough away mileage-wise at this point. So the husband is going to try to appease him so he'll stop barking. He may also be mad thinking that we were going because I have my hat on. But my hat's on because the lights are very bright. And it's keeping my hair from blowing in my eyes. I could have put my other hat on, which he probably wouldn't associate with us going anywhere because it's been a while since I've worn that one. Except, I think the brim sticks out too far, and it would be blocking the camera. So that wouldn't work out too well. That was a really good sensation on my leg.
Go. Come. Go. Let's go. Park. Let's go.
He's gonna try to take both of them together, which is always an adventure. Because they don't always want to go in the same direction. I did ask him if I needed to pause for a few minutes and help him, and he said no. Sassed by a 20-pound old man giving me the business because he didn't get to go to the park. It was so funny because when the mother-in-law was here, oh, why did that pause? It was so funny because when the mother-in-law was here, he kind of cared about going to the park, but not quite as much as he would rather be in her room with her. So we got away with not having to take him twice a day. Some days we didn't take him at all, unless he started looking for it. And well, she left with her sister again. When did they leave? Early May? No. Was it early? Yeah. No, it had to be early May. Middle of May? It had been the middle to end of May. And ever since then, man, he's been like, it's time to go. Let's go. Nothing has appeased him. I'm like, well, we're not going 3 times a day, because at one point he was going off for his mental clock for when we used to take him around 2:30 in the afternoon. But we had just taken him at like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, no, we're not going again already. And now it's getting into summer, right? So it's getting a lot hotter here. So now we have to worry about how hot the pavement is at the park. So, because it's an asphalt blacktop drive, like internal park road that we walk him on. And even like the actual trails through that park are the same sort of asphalt. And so we have to be mindful of what the temperature of that is in the summer, because it's going to be times where it's too hot for him to walk on in the early afternoon. So if we don't get up in time, then he's going to have to wait until after dinner to be able to go soon. Because pretty soon we're going to start hitting the high 90s and high 90s Fahrenheit. And that ain't happening. That pavement is going to be much too hot on his little feet. And he's like, no. I said we're going. And I'm like, I said we're not. What is that? Like a pink fleck of something. No idea what that was. Alright, so let's see. How do I want to do this? So let's fill this in through here. I might need to flip this. Just so I can get a better idea of my lines here. I mean, it doesn't matter too much if I come in too close, because we haven't done the flamingo yet. Flamingo's gonna go on top. So I can always adjust it out a little bit further into the blue section if I need to. Because, you know, the pen lines, they're not the end all be all. It's just approximation lines here, guidelines, if you will, of the shape that I'm trying to get close to having, essentially. But you know, it's fine. We can fine tune it as we go, because felt's kind of hard to draw on. It gets fuzzy. Line's not always going to be super, super precise. I just used a ballpoint pen. Nothing fancy. Wasn't any kind of special pen or special ink or anything. And the acrylic yarn works up fairly well for this, I think. Now, making critters, it might be a little more difficult because it doesn't really stick to itself quite like the wool roving. But I've heard a lot of people like, oh, you need to use, if you're going to go acrylic yarn for the outside, you should really go wool roving for the core of your creature. And I'm like, nah, I've used polyfill. It might not come out quite the same, but I've used polyfill and then just covered the polyfill in the color that I wanted it to be. Again, I was going more for budget friendly than anything. And the bag of polyfill can actually take me a good amount of distance, depending on the size of the bag, of course, but like one of the giant bags. Well, no, it's not the giant bag. So we had like half body sized bags of polyfill at one point, and then we had the huge boxes of polyfill. So this is like probably the size before the half body sized bags of polyfill that I've been using for a while now. I don't even remember what the last thing I used it for was. I was gonna try to make a flamingo critter, and I think projects ran long and I just never had the chance to get back and attempt to do that. And then I made something else, and what was it? Oh, it was the husband's banana slug. The core of the log that I put the banana slug on was made of polyfill, and then I needle felted a sheet of fluff to wrap around it. That took a lot of fluff. I was so tired of seeing that color. By the time I got done working on that, I actually thought I was going to run out of that color. I still haven't yet. I did a mass filling of all of my acrylic yarn bags. So whenever I get, because I know me, I don't know if it's an executive function issue or what, but if there's more steps to be able to do the thing, the less likely I am to do it, because if it takes too long for me to get started doing the thing, I've lost interest. So like, ugh, and then I have to really force myself to get going to do the thing. But whenever I get yarn now, I haven't gotten yarn in a while, but whenever I did get my yarn, when my yarn orders would come in, I would fill a Ziploc bag with as much as I could stand doing of that one color, prepping that color. So that way I've got all of my colors prepped. So when the mood hits, I can just grab the bag and get to work. And then I can just top off the bag later when I'm done the project. So that way I'm never really out of a color. And so far that method has been working for me. I let it go a little too long in filling my bags of color, so that when I was refilling all of my bags, it took a while. There was a lot of colors that were very low. I think that took me almost 2 weeks of off and on as I had the time to refill the colors. But I think I've got like 70 colors of yarn. I have at least 50. It's actually more than 50. I got to 50 and stopped. Um, I have like, I have string nailed to, well, I have nails in the one wall, and I took string and ran it between nails. So like there's nail here, string in between. So it looks like a little clothesline. And I have it running across in a section, and then I've got just like rows and rows and rows and rows of colored bags of fluff. It kind of looks like forbidden cotton candy. Forbidden because you certainly can't eat it because it's not actual food, but reminds me of bags of cotton candy that you would see on the boardwalk in the summer. Well, I mean, we've got a little bit done here. It takes a little bit of time. But we've gotten a bit done so far. It takes a little bit of time because the way I do it, sometimes I need to add multiple layers, and sometimes I need to shape it, or I want to shape it, and it just needs that extra bit. Now, I'm not planning on leaving the clouds the polyfill color, just so you know. When we start to work on that, I am planning on coming back in and adding color on top of it. Something on my desk is rattling. It might be the monitor. Something is. I don't know what it is. I can hear it. Now, I'm still on the same tube of needles that came with my kit when I ordered it a couple of years ago. I don't know how often I'm supposed to swap them out, or if you only swap them out when they break. Like, I don't know. Hi, Mr. Bean. Those are my feet. We're not going to bite my feet. We're not going to claw my feet. Please and thank you. Hi. Okay. Hi. Hi. You can't have that. That is a very sharp thing. What's up? Did you need attention? Has it been too long since you've had attention? Thank you for just shoving our project out of the way. That was very rude of you. Excuse me? No respect. No, this is what we're working on. Sir! This is what we're working on. Hi. Hi. It's a good thing we're not painting. No. You're gonna... Sir, you're gonna knock both of my speakers off of the desk. And then we're gonna have a problem. Like you did the other day. Oh my god. It's the zoo over here. Hey. 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 You want to move? I've got the sharp thing in my other hand. And then the only hand that's left is holding the speakers onto the desk. Let's see if I can pop that in there. All right, look you. No. Excuse me. No. That is not acceptable. No, let go. Sir. This is not a toy. Well, it's not a kitty toy. Hi. What is the matter? Are you that bored? Are you that stinking bored? Look at you. You're a mess. Face is all dirty. You got eye gunk. What's up? Is it time for us to take a bean break? Guess it's time for us to take a bean break. Hi. Look, you got fuzz going up your nose. What's that? You were playing with Zuzu. And then Zuzu ended up going for a car ride. No. No, the beanie break's gonna be over if you start trying to pull stuff off of the shelf. Those are not cat-safe toys. If they were, I would have given them to you before. Those are off limits. And you know it. That's... Ow! No. Ow! No. That is the string from my hat. It was hanging down over my boobs. Come on. Oh my goodness. Look at you. Look at you. Whenever we go to pick him up, it's like trying to pick up a 2-gallon plastic bag of water. He just goes completely boneless. Ah, ah, ah. No bunny feet. Look at you. What am I gonna do with you? Hmm? Boop. Oh, I think your doggy friends are back. Yeah, I think your doggy friends are back. Are you gonna get a treat with them? Because you seem to like their doggy treats that they get. I had to give him his own pile of Rice Krispies this morning. Because he would not stay out of my cereal bowl. And even then, after he got done pretending to eat that, he followed me and sat down across from me and was trying to pull my bowl to him with his foot while I was eating out of it.
Ah, I see you had to stop what you were doing anyhow.
Yes, we had to take a beanie break, apparently. Come on.
But he's being so cute. You wanted a death cat. You complained about not having a death cat. And now you've gotten what you wished for. The monkey's paw has filled inside, honey.
Yeah. He just showed up unannounced. What happened to the bit of fluff I had in my hand? I still had a tiny bit of fluff. Well, that seems to be gone. Did they behave? Oh, yeah, I was getting around to that. Did you report or?
I just finished the report.
This ad's different.
Oh. Oh, I just finished reporting it.
Oh, second report can't hurt. Yeah, they've been posting AI viewers and then the name of the site. I haven't seen this one in a while. The best promotion on name of site. Okay. All right, let's try to get back to business here. Now that our beanie break is over. I don't know what happened to that bit of fluff. I guess the fan took it? I don't know. Maybe I'll find it later. Maybe I won't. We'll see. All right. Are you happy now, Mr. Dog? You won the argument? You got your way? I mean, personally, I would take him in the rain. But there were times where he wouldn't even lower himself to walk through a puddle. We were on a trip to Florida and we had taken them with us this particular trip. This was several years ago. And the mother-in-law had come with us to help dog sit because they couldn't stay in the hotel room unsupervised because a certain doggo who sasses me constantly will start to howl. And that would have gotten us kicked out of the hotel right quick. So, she's like, she was paying, the mother-in-law was paying for the trip. So she's like, well, can I go? And I'm like, the husband and I really just wanted to go ourselves. But she was paying for it. So the husband like left it up to me, and I'm like, how dare you put me into this position? And I'm like, I guess you're paying for it. I can't really be a bitch and say no, even though I really wanted to. And so she came with us, but we told her she has to help us watch the dogs because we couldn't leave the dogs home because they were going to be too much for my dad, and my dad didn't want to go with. We tried to get him to go. He's like, no, no, it's too much. He didn't want to be bothered. And I'm like, all right. Because I was even going to try to set the trip up so that we were in Key West so he could see the power boats for the offshore races. Because he used to race E-Class hydroplanes. And he's like, no, no. And I'm like, all right. But we couldn't leave the dogs with just him. And if she was coming with us, then the dogs had to come with us. And then after all that, like, it had rained, I guess, overnight or something. Or maybe it was just from the businesses hosing down their sidewalks in the morning. There was water in the alleyway that our hotel was on to get up to the main road as we were going in search of breakfast. There was a puddle, like in a dip in the road, and it took up like 2/3 of the street, and he would not walk through it. I had to bend down and pick him up and carry him over the puddle and put him down, and then he was happy as could be. He would not walk through it. Like, really, guy? And then after we got back, or at the very end of the trip, the mother-in-law was like, yeah, I'm really tired. She goes, I probably should have just stayed home. And the husband and I looked at each other and we're like, are you fucking kidding me? This trip would have been so much less expensive without a third person. And the dog hotel fees. Because I was ripping my hair out trying to find places that had availability for the dates we were looking for that were pet friendly. And I'm like, do you understand how much more money this trip cost us? Because you said that you wanted to come, and then at the end you're like, I probably just should have stayed home. I'm tired. Like, really? We could have saved you so much money on this trip. You know, third person hotel fees, the pet fee, the one place we were in, I think it was it $50 per dog, or was it 75 for two? It might have been 75 for two per night tacked on. And then an extra person to feed and activities and all of the things, and I'm just like, oh my god. But we had tried to take my dad before he got put back on oxygen again. We're like, we'll bring the wheelchair. You don't have to do all that much walking because you really can't. And it's fine. He's like, no. I'm like, we tried. Like, we would have had hats for him to wear so he wasn't in the full-on direct sun. He could have brought a little umbrella or something for shade. Because I think one of his medications said he couldn't be like just full-on direct sun. And then the shorter trip that we did to Florida, um, I think in 2023, the trip we ended up getting COVID on, because of some cruise ship people. We're fully convinced it was the cruise ship people because there was somebody off of a cruise in the one store we were in Key West, and the timing kind of lines up because one of them was in the one store coughing their heads off. And the husband and I kept looking at each other, and I was trying to get what I needed and get out of there as quickly as we could. But that was really the only confined space we were in, with somebody that was like actively coughing. I think the other times we ate, we tried to eat outside where possible. But we ended up taking my mom down there for a couple of nights. And she's like, I see why you like it, but I don't like it down here. And then we realized we could have left her to stay with her sister. So then we took a very much needed vacation from everything, dealing with parents, dealing with animals. We left the mother-in-law here to watch her own house and to deal with the animals, and we left my mom with her sister and my brother, and we fucked off on sort of a second honeymoon. We were racing to get down there, so we left a day sooner after seeing if we could tack a day on to the front of our stay. And they're like, yeah, that's fine, because there was a hurricane in the Gulf. They hadn't posted any kind of evacuation issues or warnings or watches for the Keys, so we're like, okay. I think there was like a tidal flooding concern, but that was it. And we didn't want to drive down US 1 on all the bridges with the tropical system coming in. So we're like, we're gonna leave a day early. They're not telling people to leave, and they would have posted those evacuation orders for visitors by now if they were going to. And it was great. It was like a ghost town down there because the storm scared so many people that a bunch of people canceled their reservations. And our day that we tacked on to the beginning of our trip, when they had availability because people canceled, was pretty cheap. I think it was a few dollars cheaper than our entire, like our average night stay. And then with all the damage after the storm went through, ironically, where my brother and my mom's sister were, um, in part of Georgia, there was some gas shortages and some power outages and stuff. So we're like, hey, we're gonna have some issues getting home. Are we able to tack another day down here onto our stay? And they're like, yeah, we got an opening. So they just extended us another day. And that was fairly cheap too. And I'm like, okay. It was like cheaper than our rate that we had originally booked at. I was like, all right. And the one lady that was checking us in, she's like, yeah, because of the storm, the hotels are like only at like 40% capacity. Everybody like noped out. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And they had some of the cheapest hotel parking on the island, the place that we had ended up staying at. They were like $15 a day at the time. And we're like, that is fantastic. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. Like, we were down here a few months ago and we stayed at the La Concha while they were under renovation when the rooms were just at the edge of our budget and we weren't there that many days. So we were like, okay, fine. And the parking there a day was $30. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, we knew parking was going to be expensive, but, and our parking lot didn't flood. I was concerned the event that we had tickets for was going to be canceled because the place where it was going to be had to put their floodgates up because of the tides being extraordinary from the hurricane going by. And I think there was some power flickers the one night. The power went out briefly for a little bit the one night. I guess the hotel rooms, the card readers, I guess have battery backups in them or something. Because we were still able to get in and out of our hotel room. And we tend to travel with at least one flashlight because we never know if we're gonna have an issue where we need a flashlight. So we already had our own flashlights and we ended up going and sitting outside. We were gonna sit on the pool deck, but I don't think we could get in there and it was pitch black up there. So I think they might have, I don't know if they chased people out for safety or what, but we decided not to go up there after all, and we were just sitting out in front of the lobby. And then I think they were starting to get the power up, or they did get it back up, and then all of the power lines were like arcing. You could see like the transformers had like sparks coming off them at times, and it's like, I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's supposed to happen. And then the motel across the street from us, there I think maybe it was the hotel. One of them, there was two, that's why I'm not sure. One of them, their fire alarm went off. Don't know if that was related to the power issue or if somebody was microwaving something in a room and wasn't paying attention to it. I don't know. That was exciting. And it was more concerning that people just seemed blasé about it. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do we know what is happening? It mustn't have been anything that was an issue because I don't even think the fire company showed up. Or maybe like not a full-on fire engine, so I don't think it was anything that was really a problem. And for all I know, somebody might have set it off smoking a cigarette when they weren't supposed to be. But we like went inside to our hotel's lobby and we're like, hey, we don't live here, so we don't know. Is it normal for these power lines to do this after the power comes back on? And she's like, no, that's not normal. So, it was doing it like down the whole length of the street. And so she ended up calling the power company and they're like, all right, well, I told them. She's like, no, I've never seen it do that before. It seemed like the power company was like, yeah, it'll settle down. Or something like that. I think they eventually sent somebody out just to make sure everything was okay, but it seemed like the way she was talking, it seemed like the power company was like, yeah, that can happen sometimes. I'm like, I don't think you understand what we're saying. But I don't know how many nights that went on for. It might have only been because like we couldn't see it during the day. I don't know if it was just that night. Might have been just that night. But it went on for several hours. We ended up keeping our flashlights handy. We had flashlights and ponchos on us at all times because we did get caught in a couple of downpours. And in fact, the one place where we were eating dinner the one night, the power flickered and we looked at each other and we're like, check, please. So we wanted to pay because we were paying on a card. We wanted to pay before the power went out. She's like, good choice. I'll just ring you up now. She's like, the one night we had the power go out and people were stuck here for like 3 hours because they couldn't leave without paying their check. And it got to the point where they were trying to tell them where ATMs were so someone in the party could go and withdraw the cash and come back and pay in cash. Because the credit card machines went down when the power went out, and I was like, oh god. Where do I want water to start? I'm gonna take the sky down to about here, I think. Yeah, that looks about good. Yeah, we were like, yeah, we'll just go ahead and pay now. We're not quite done eating it. She's like, no, that's fine. Our waitress was very lovely. Like, you guys are good. And so we ended up putting our ponchos on because it was windy, and at that point, with the island breeze and then the wind squalls from the hurricane, an umbrella it ain't gonna work. The umbrella's gonna end up getting blown inside out and just be absolutely useless. So we had these little tiny we had these ponchos that like rolled up into a pouch. So I always had a backpack with me. So we had those in, like an extra bottle of water. Sometimes the sunscreen was in there when we remembered to put it in there. And like my noise canceling earbuds. And the phone that doesn't work as a phone that they were attached to, so I could at least turn them on. Like there was no SIM card in that phone, it's just one that I was using for music and stuff. And for photos. But yeah, the one end of the street where the butterfly conservatory was, where we had tickets to see their resident flamingos up close and personal, those tickets were hard to get. We weren't allowed to touch them, but the flamingos were definitely allowed to touch us. But I was really nervous because the one day, like the day before our tickets were for, we were gonna head over there, and they were closed because the street was flooded. I was like, oh. They're like, yeah, we can't take down our floodgates today. There's still water in the street. So we're gonna have to be closed today. Sorry, guys. They had to put these things in the ground to keep like these metal plates, keep the water from coming into the business. So, I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time to do this. At least for me it does. But we are making progress here today, even with our Mr. Bean break that we had to take. But then again, you know, we did start a little bit early tonight. Now, I know I have on there a start time of 9 p.m. Central on the schedule. I will, when possible, start sooner than that. That's just, you know, for extreme cases where I'm running late. I should be live by then. But I try to go live as soon as I'm able to. Especially if I'm working on something that's going to be a little bit involved. And I could use the extra time to try to get caught up on it. That was why we went live when we did tonight. That, and I wasn't sure if it was gonna get super squirrely with the weather. It seems like our weather is done now for the night. There might be a few tiny showers try to move in. We could have some stuff overnight into tomorrow morning. That might be more of an issue. But we'll see. I don't think it's going to be anything too terribly concerning. But we've got multiple weather alerts on the husband's phone. And I will double check the forecast before I go to bed. Just to make sure we're not expecting anything too concerning. I don't think we are. Not like the middle of the country had to deal with last night. It kind of went around us. Like, I was watching it, and it was drifting down from the north towards us. That whole mess from Missouri. But it, like, hit a certain point, and then just started going east and stopped drifting south. So I was like, okay. I guess. Sure then. Okay, so I'm gonna try to take it to here. And then from here down is gonna be like our watercolor. You can kind of see the flamingo shape starting to fill in there. A little bit. Got a little bit of flamingo shaping going on. Now, I do apologize for it being sideways. It's a little bit easier for me to see at the moment. Actually, give me one moment. I'm going to stand up and stretch a little bit. We've been sitting in the same spot for a little bit here, so just gonna wiggle the legs a little bit. All right. Okay, that should do us for a little bit. Sorry about that. Sometimes I get so involved I forget to do those things, and I was trying to change my position. I was like, you know what? Leggies have been kind of hanging straight down for a little while. Let's go ahead and stand up. Move them around a little bit. The creaking is from my keyboard tray. Do apologize. There's not much I can do about that. It was not part of this desk. It was something we added onto it. And I think we thought it was straight when we were putting it on. But I think it was just ever so slightly a smidgen off. Oh my goodness, he just doesn't stop today. You've got 2 minutes before second snackies. Mr. Dog. You've got a couple more minutes. You have to wait to the appointed second snacky time. He's already had dinner. Sir. A few more minutes. He is full of it today. When's the next full moon? He has just been a sass gremlin today. Oh my goodness. I don't appreciate this attitude, Mr. Dog. All the things I do for you. And you've just been sassing me like crazy today. Okay. Get the next little bit in here. Now, once I get this section filled in, we'll go ahead and start working on the other side. I just kind of figured, well, I'm already over here. Might as well just kind of keep going. And I did spy Mr. Bean when I stood up. he was curled up on the bed. So he is doing his moped impression over there behind me, the dog. Because he's now demanding second snacks. Husband's in the middle of something. So he's gonna have to wait a minute. Oh my god. He sounds so demonic. Oh my goodness. Look here, Mr. Dog. When Mr. Man has done what he's in the middle of typing, okay? Oh my god, I know. It's so terrible. What we put you through. How dare we ask you to wait a minute? Oh my. It's so bad. Does feel like cotton candy though. Not as sticky, but it has that same kind of like cottony feel to it. Do you hear him? Okay. So let's get this next bit of fluff. I know, the complaints department. I know. I know. I have forwarded your complaint. You are going to have to take a number and have a seat and wait to be called. I have received your complaint. You keep complaining to the wrong department, so that's why it takes longer to get your ticket fulfilled. And I keep trying to tell you this. And you're just not understanding. Because, oh my goodness. It's been a good long while since you've been this sassy.
Working on, buddy. Sassy boy's hunky.
He has just been so full of demands today. Oh my goodness. Not sure if this is gonna do it for this section. I might need to add a couple more smaller pieces. just to make sure that that gray is not peeking through too hard. Sometimes I can tell from the back if it looks like I've missed stabbing into a section, or it's a little bit too thin in that section. Oh yeah, we definitely need a little bit more because it's way thin in here. And over here, I just missed completely. All right. Next bit of fluff and stuff. Start to get that worked into there. Like there's a little spot in there. Like, the one thing about this particular shade, there is some white, or at least a lighter shade of blue mixed in with it. It's not terribly noticeable, but certain times and areas where I've stabbed in, I'll have trouble trying to figure out if it's the base color of my felt shining through, or if it's just the way the light is hitting this particular shade of blue. So sometimes I end up going over a section and adding more layers to it than maybe I necessarily needed. Okay. Now I do see a couple of spots in here. I want to add a little bit more right here. And then I need a little bit more right in here. Alright, yeah, that looks a little bit better there. And I might end up filling that in with pink all the way down. I probably will, but at least this way it doesn't matter how far out I bring that, because we're all covered in there. Alright, so this guy, try to get lined up into here. Remember, when you're sliding your needle around, you want to lift it out of your felts before you move to the side. You don't want to stab in and lift, or stab in and drag to the sides, because that will snap your needle. Now, I didn't end up getting much of anything done today. We didn't fall asleep until late, and then we got jolted awake by his cell phone ringing. I actually thought it was an emergency weather call at first. I was like, oh god, what's happening? And I was struggling to get my eyes open enough to pull up the weather app on my Kindle, and then I realized it was his mom calling him about an issue he tried to help them fix with their RV at one point. And she was calling about that. I'm like, how are you supposed to fix it from here? And he's like, well, she didn't pay attention when I told her what she had to do if it started acting up again. Apparently, I don't know if it was the propane leak detector or the carbon monoxide detector was going off. And they had replaced it or tried to replace some sort of sensor or something. And it was still going off or whatever. And it turned out that if you don't clean this one specific area and vent regularly and vacuum it and stuff and get the dust out of it, the dust can set it off. And since it's been all this time since he last fussed it, since it went off, then it seems to be they're just not cleaning it properly in that specific spot. Realized I need to be able to see my line here. When I do decide to grab the water, I'm just dipping my finger onto the surface of it, and I'm shaking off whatever will fall off. And that gives my hand enough friction to kind of pull those guys together. so that we can kind of shape them a bit. You don't have to do that, completely optional. But I do find it helps a little bit. Depending on what you're trying to do, of course. Like, a lot of this is going to come down to personal preference. Once you get into the swing of it. Right, like as time goes on and you get more comfortable doing a thing, you find other ways that work better for you and still get you to where you need to be in the end for the finished results that you're looking for. So as long as it's not causing harm to you or anyone else, then if it gets you to where you need to be, then why not? Amazing how far we can get when we don't have a certain chaos gremlin constantly plopping his whole body up here in the middle of what we're doing. It's amazing. Now I'm just grabbing a little bit of fluff in small increments and just kind of doing a quick little boundary outline here. That way, as I work my way down, I can layer on top of it and still know where I need to be, or approximately where I need to be. Okay. Sorry, give me just 1 minute. Okay. Just adjusting something. Oh, looking pretty flamingo-y on the back. Alright, now if you should accidentally drip water on your project itself, do not panic. It is water. It might make the spot where the water dropped look slightly darker, but that is temporary. And as it dries, it will go away. So don't worry. It's all good. Everything's okay. Definitely feel like I messed up the shape of my neck a little bit. And I was trying to draw it in here. But you know what? It's fine. We can make adjustments with the flamingo color on that as I put it in. And it'll be okay. It will be okay. Right? Like, the things have to go through the what the hell is this stages. And sometimes they linger in those stages for a while. And it's okay. And yes, sometimes a piece forever stays in that stage. But if it seems stuck in that stage, maybe just keep throwing stuff at it. Because sometimes you can pull it out of it. You just didn't give yourself enough time. Right? Right here. A little bit more outlining here to go. You can see how my tape got all like bubbly and buckled and everything. It's fine. The tape is just there as a, hey, don't go past this point. Because then you're taking it a little too far. It's just an extra guideline for me. Because sometimes when you're doing this, the project can get a little skewed with all the fibers pulling in from different directions. That's why I liked the thicker felt, because the thicker craft felt, the one project I did on it, it didn't seem to warp at all. It didn't seem to stretch funny. It pretty much stayed consistent, the shape that it needed to be, and my tape didn't really move on that one. This thinner stuff though, the thinner stuff tends to pull in, and you'll notice because your tape will get bunchy and stuff. See, like this side's much more bunchy than this side because I've been working mostly on that side. So, I mean, it happens. Which is why I was trying to give myself that little extra bit of buffer room to work with. What is wrong now?
Yeah, you gotta go chill, buddy. You're not getting any more right this second. Let it hit the bottom first, huh?
You have at least another half an hour to wait before you have a third helping. Go on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't need real children. I've got my fur children. That's all I can handle mentally. Growing up, I was like, yeah, I don't want kids. And then all of my cousins were like, oh, you want to babysit for me? I'm like, no. And they were like taken back. They're like, no. And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. I'm not. No thanks. I would have to help babysit my niece and nephew from time to time. And that was enough. Especially when the one nephew, for no reason whatsoever, while I was holding him, chose violence in that moment and leaned over while I was holding him and just bit my arm hard for no reason. I was like, what in? I was like, no, I'm done. I handed the child off to my mother and I'm like, no, this is your problem now. I will not. I will not be bitten. Especially when I did nothing to deserve the biting. Just no. Oh my god, Mr. Dog. You got what you wanted earlier. You've gotta at least digest that for a minute, okay? Let's think about that snack for a minute. Let's let that settle in your stomach. And then if you're still hungry in a little bit, we will give you some more. But I don't want you to eat yourself silly and eat too much and then get sick. Okay? Because we've done that before. Or we've put it in front of you and then you've decided you're not hungry after the fact. So let's give it a minute, okay? All right? I know. I'm a terrible, terrible human being. I know. Mm-hmm. I know. I know. I pick you up and put you on the bed all the time. I assist you getting up onto the bed so you don't fall when you decide you want to do it yourself. I give you snackies. I give you cuddles. We do moped impressions together in the morning. Yeah, I'm just terrible. I know. He's making little tiny baby moped impression growly noises and whining in the background. Pretty much what he was doing when he wanted to WALK earlier. Guy, it's like been 20 minutes since you ate. A second time, mind you. It was the second dinner he's been given. He's only a 20-pound little guy. Where are you putting it all? You have a hollow leggy. Is your tail hollow? Where's it all going? You have to be patient. It's not time yet. You have another half an hour. You have another half an hour. I will tell you when. I'm watching the time for you. I am. I will let you know. I promise. Have I lied to you? No. No. Could you not sound so demonic while you're sassing me? Are you done? Excuse me? Yeah. Are you done now? Your complaint has been lodged. Your ticket is now reopened. The complaints department has been notified. Please don't sass the messenger. No. 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 Oh, look, Karen. Don't you Karen me. Sir. Why? Go lay down. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Keep talking. He has to have the last word. He just cannot help himself. It's like, no. And here I thought Mr. Bean was going to be the trouble one tonight. No. Tonight it's been the 20-pound sass machine. That wasn't an invitation to come back. Go lay down. It's not time yet. Mr. Man is watching the time. I am watching the time. It's been 2 minutes, if that, since you walked away. You've got to calm down. I don't want to eat. I don't want to let him eat till he gets sick. And that's fine if he is still hungry. But we try to make him wait at least a half an hour, if not an hour, before he gets a third helping. To see if he is actually hungry. For all I know, he's mad that I have a hat on. He thinks it means we're doing things. But he already did things. Alright, so this guy in here. Haven't really decided what color our flamingo is going to be yet. I've got some options. I've got a few shades of pink. Okay. Sorry, if there's something pink that keeps dipping into the bottom of the screen, it's the hat I've got on. I am zoomed out a little bit more. I'm trying to keep an eye on that, so I don't do it too much and block the view. I'm trying to make sure that I am further up the desk than I usually am. Ooh. Now, if it's being really resistant to you pulling in the one direction, like I'm tucking pretty good here. Try to go in the other direction and see if that'll lift up a little bit better. Okay. So we're gonna start adding in the guy on this half now. And just the same way we put it in over here, just grab a bit of fluff and shape it, don't shape it, do whatever you want with it. And I'm gonna end up covering my cloud shapes here. That is fine. Not a big deal. I'm gonna put those back in once this shade of blue is all good to go. But I'm fairly pleased with how far we've gotten with the blue tonight. I know that sounds silly, but we did actually do quite a bit here because we filled in here and we got all pretty goodly filled in here, and then I got that outlined. I'm not doing half bad. We'll see how our blue background holds up when I start adding the clouds back in. Sometimes when you start layering up your colors on top of the ones that are already there, if you don't have a good layer on there, it can pull the fibers that are already down in closer, and then you can have some little gaps show up. If that happens, just slap some more of the color that got funny on you on top of it. It's an easy fix. And everything will be okay. Okay. This is a lot of blue to fill in, though. I will say that. You want to be gentle when you are trying to pull that up. Because, yeah, depending on how much fluff you are trying to stab in there, it can really take a hold on you. And then be a little problematic when you're trying to lift up entirely. So as long as you're gentle and slow, you can tell if you need to start pulling it from a different direction before you inflict too much damage. Or any damage, really. Now, you might notice the flamingo shape itself start to get a little bunchy, I guess would be the fabric start to bunch up in there. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It's because we haven't stabbed in to that section yet. So you're fine. You haven't done anything wrong. It's all good. Right, I am going to turn my mat. You should do that as well, just so you're not constantly stabbing into the same spot. That way your mat wears a little bit more evenly. Now, you don't necessarily have to cover up the area where you're thinking about putting your clouds. You could leave that open and then just stick your cloud color in there outright. I have done that previously. I just wasn't quite sure how this experiment was going to go, because I've never done this before. So, kind of feel like maybe I should throw down the background color first. Just in case. Since I am doing something new, to me at least. Or planning on doing something new to me. gonna pop that up. And again, this is something I do. You don't necessarily have to do this. I just find that I don't tend to get as many like valleys and crevices form if I try to brush the back down a little bit as I go. It might be utter nonsense and it might just not do anything, but it makes me feel a little bit better, so I guess that's all that really matters. Okay. Now, I like to work in smaller amounts of fluff, just because it gives my arm a chance to have a rest from stabbing constantly, and it gives my neck a rest from being jarred from all the stabbing. Just because of the past issues I've had with it, so again, whatever is gonna work better for you. That is what you should do. Sorry, I keep forgetting not to pull it too close to me. Oh, look, Mr. Sassy Man went and laid down. He has 10 minutes. Suddenly realized how quiet it had become in here. Okay. A little bit more to go on that piece. Feels like a rug on the back. Right in there, I feel like. I don't know if that's a thin spot or if it's just the way it layered in there. It could just be the way the light's hitting it too. Like, that's entirely possible. But at the same time, it still feels like it looks like I can see a little bit of the gray. So I'm just gonna grab small amounts of this. Try to lay that in there. And that should take care of it, I think, if I got it in the right spot. We'll see. Sometimes the fiber does what it wants. We can try to suggest to it that it does what we want. Okay. Alright, yeah, that looks a little bit better there. So, I mean, we've gotten a fair bit worked in here. Okay, let's see. I keep jumping around. Part of me is like, oh, let's keep going around the flamingo. And then another part of me is like, no, let's jump back up here. Probably going to end up turning this to the other side, like this way, soon. Just so I can see that side a little bit better. That might have been what my brain was like, no, we'll just work over till we need to turn it. I mean, either way is fine. Sometimes you just need to jump around so it feels like you're doing something different just by working in a different spot, right? Well, let's turn it this way. I could go with a little bit of a bigger piece, but it's fine. Wait, our friend is going to be in the what the heck is this stage? What are you even doing here stage for a little bit? Usually how these things go, and then like at the very last bit it starts to come together. Okay. Let's get this bit worked in down here. Now, if you're not sure if you're fully attached, you can just run your fingers over it and see if anything feels loose or see if the fluff moves around, and then that can tell you if you're fully attached. Sometimes, depending on different textures, maybe you don't want it to be 100% attached. Maybe you're just looking for like anchor points here and there. That's fine also. Depends on what you're doing. Just kind of depends on what vibe you're trying to get. And how attached you want it to be. I like my stuff very well attached, personally. I don't like anything being a little too loose or feel like it's going to move around. So a lot of the time you will see me stop and then rub my finger and then get back to stabbing again. That is what I'm doing. I'm just seeing how attached it is. Some colors you can tell better than others. Some colors you just have to touch it. Especially if it's the lighter colors, I have a little bit of a trickier time. But right in here, I haven't really dabbed through too well yet. So I think that section is going to end up with another bit of fluff over top of it. Plus that's kind of close to the area where that cloud's going to be going in. Fluff is being extra fluffy here. Now, I don't have stream avatars up right now. I have it on. It's just not visible on the screen. I have it on so I can hear the chat notifications. I have it set up to make a flamingo noise when somebody talks every so many seconds. I think it has like a 30-second to a minute cooldown, so it doesn't always do it. But at least it alerts me to, hey, people are talking to you. Because sometimes I get involved in what I'm working on and forget to check the chat. But I don't have it visible with the flamingos walking around on the screen when I'm doing art. Primarily because sometimes, especially on the projects that take several weeks to complete, if I have the time, I will go back and I will download that footage from the live stream, and then I will cut it down and edit out all of my hand talking pauses, times where I'm doing stuff but not actually working on what we were supposed to be working on. And then the areas that I am actually working on the thing, I will speed that up just to get like a speed paint version of it, essentially. And I don't want the mini flamingos walking across the screen at hyperspeed for those times. So that is why when we are doing art, I've got stream avatars off of the screen. My PC is not quite ultra elite fancy enough to stream and record the same thing at the same time. And why should I? Why should I stress my machine that much when I can just download the live stream? Right? It's not that big of a deal, or download the VOD after I've sent it to YouTube. Now, I'm not going to be finishing the sky today. The base color of it. I will not be. I know my limitations. And it's been a little bit since we've needle felted, so I can definitely feel my arm getting tired already. But we've also been doing this, what, just about 3 hours now, so we did start early tonight. And make sure that I've got that. Oh, there we go. Did not want to raise up in that one direction. So that's probably going to need a little bit more right in there. But I think I am throwing in the towel for tonight, because it is a lot of jarring to my neck at times. And we've been going pretty good tonight. My handle also serves as a holder to tuck that away in safely. But no, I'm pretty happy with where we're at so far. I know it's going to take a little bit to get this guy done, but I'm okay with that. Like I said, I understand that. I'm not doing an extra stream this week because I need to try to finish up my other embroidery project, and I've got some editing I need to do. So I don't really have time to throw in an extra one this weekend. If I was gonna say, if by some miracle I get that project done this weekend, I might do the extra stream next week, but I don't think I will. It takes a surprising amount of time to put French knots in. So I don't want to say, oh yeah, we'll definitely do it next week, because I need that to be off of that stand. I don't want to take it off while I'm still working on it, because I've got it where I want it to be. I want to finish it before I fully pull it off of the stand. So soon. But I am feeling pretty good with our Flamingo Shapey so far. Yeah, and so we'll have our frame put together in here. You know, it'll be fine. It'll be good. We'll paint these up. We'll paint the back of it. Figure out what color we're going to do our frame. We might do a wood tone. Probably a wood tone. But, yeah, it'll be good. So I hope everybody has a good night. Don't forget to follow all of the socially links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi, the Blue Sky, and the YouTube channel. And everybody stay safe, because I think we still might have some weather tomorrow morning. We should be okay for Planet Zoo tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow night for Planet Zoo. We're working on that one staff area that I've been putting off working on for a while. I want to get that done so then I can focus on the walkway, because I've been putting it off for far too long. But if I get that staff area done, then we'll move on to the walkway. I don't know if I will, because I do have a bit to do on that. There are several buildings, but we'll see how fast it goes. So, thank you guys for popping in and checking things out tonight. I do greatly appreciate it. This VOD will go up on the YouTube channel in a couple of days. Let's see, what's it? 18th. This will probably go up on the 20th onto the YouTube channel, at least the 20th for me. Yeah, so you guys have a great night, and I hope to see everybody for Planet Zoo tomorrow. So until next time, you guys, have a good one.